Welcome back. All right, let's clear that conversation up. 409 billion shillings going to the counties. And Philip, I asked you just before the break that if you say that only 3 counties are actually meeting their target for their own source revenue, out of the 47, the 44 are neither here nor there. And you can actually see, if you look at that graph that we're showing you right now, for how counties are contributing to the GDP of the country, then you'll see exactly where we are. Let's look at that data again, Richie, if you can. So now our question will come from the crossover to the contribution of GDP. Richie, if you can, so we can actually look at it. That's where we are. Top 3 and bottom 3 in terms of how counties contribute to the GDP of the country from 2017, from 2013 to 2017. You can actually now Nairobi just coming at 21.7%, but our poorest, again, you will say, and these are the ones that will get more money under the poverty index, 0.2%. Then you like to ask the question, is increasing more money going to change that data set that we have there on the screen?
It's likely to have very little effect.
Yes.
If you look at Nairobi, because Nairobi is the largest contributor,
yes,
it's not because Nairobi has put in a lot of effort to generate the revenue. It is reflective of the realities of Nairobi County.
Yes.
Nairobi County has a huge tax base compared to Isiolo, for example. And because the counties are still, I'd mentioned before that the counties are still dependent on licenses, issuing of certificates, rates, parking fees, and whatnot. You compare the resource in terms of that kind of tax base in Nairobi to other counties. Nairobi has a huge capacity.
Yes.
So my insistence would be on counties being innovative. You have counties that have business models. They have made sure that they are spending on industry. And the industries they have created are generating revenue for them. Take an example of Makueni and Kitui, for example. I think those are counties that have really done something towards spurring economic growth. And the issue here is not really on spending on development. I think we have a skewed understanding of what development is. I was just mentioning while we were on break that this government could be credited for walking by sight and not really by faith. And by that I mean having, lacking vision.
Yes.
Because, the government will say that we are building roads, but how are those roads spurring economic growth? If, these counties were corporations or business entities,
yes,
just a simple financial rational analysis will demand that you shut down the counties, because you look at roads that are being built, for example.
Yes.
Some are just for sure that the counties are developing. It's not just enough to have a tarmac road in an area, but how is that road contributing to economic growth? And one of the things that I find unfortunate is the fact that we have county integrated development plans, annual development plans that have become academic documents.
Yes.
You look at them and they are very beautiful across counties, but they are largely unimplemented because if counties were to follow strictly their CIDPs and annual development plans, then we would have a sense of measurable growth, economic growth in that sense. If you're building a hospital, for example, you must cast and forecast. How is this hospital going to do in terms of generating income for the county? And what is going to go towards expenditure from the county, because you're also going to pay employees,
yes,
out of this hospital. If you're creating a road, how is that road going to spur economic growth? So what is lacking in the counties, aside from visionary leadership, because that then will inform how a county is innovative in terms of revenue sourcing. What is lacking is counties being able to be empirical on the development, or what we know as development. So if you're building a road, be empirical. Is the economic growth out of that road measurable?
Yes.
Can you record it down? You
Yes.
know, those kinds of things. If we are able to handle our leadership, economic and physical leadership within the counties, just like we would manage businesses, then we would be at a better place.
Pretty much. All right, gentlemen, let's move on to the last issue that we have for you this morning. And Reginald, I want to rope you in on this. Now, members of parliament will now earn 100,000 shillings a month after their house sittings increased to 5 sessions a week from 2 to speed up debates and passage of bills, which now see members of parliament hold 2 sittings every Tuesday and 3 every Wednesday. Now, members will now sit up to 9 p.m. from 2:30 p.m. as the House rushes to clear priority business amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Fine. Members are now paid 5,000 bob per session, meaning they will take home 25,000 per week or 100,000 monthly under the new arrangement. This will now see them move from what used to be the old arrangement in which they earned 10,000 for 2 sessions every Tuesday and Thursday, down from 60,000 they earned before the COVID-19 pandemic for 6 sittings on Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. So that is a jump of 40,000. Good. This coming in the week in which the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC, on Monday approved the disbursement of 4.5 billion shillings to go into car grants for all the 2,237 Kenyan MCAs in the various counties across the country. This further puts Kenya's recurring expenditure into question, with the Commission adamant though that it will not blow the country's expenditure bill off the roof. Kenya already has overshot its 2020-2021 budget by 4%, with the current expenditure shooting up by 2% from the last financial year. Fine. Good. So this morning, let's take a look at what has been our recurrent expenditure trend. And if you can see that all the way from 2016 to 2020, we have failed to put it back to where it needs to be. And that is 35% of our national income. It's currently stands at 53%, and it's bound to grow by certain points if we account this 2 million car grant to MCAs and the 100,000 that members of parliament will now be earning, which paints a clear outlook on the next data set on exactly how much we've been spending up to where we are in 2019-2020. Reginald, is it a talking point, or, well, they deserve it?
Simba, they will be paid. You will pay it from your taxes, or they will borrow to pay it. Unfortunately, the talking point here is, I think as a country we have no plan. We wake up, go through the motions, and move on. What is the role of an MCA and the role of a member of parliament?
Yes.
Primarily, their role is legislation. So parliament is legislation at a national level. MCAs is legislation at a county level. What are they legislating if they do not have a plan for the country? As I said, 81% of the GDP in this country is driven by private consumption. As members of parliament, they are supposed to be creating laws and legislating in a way of creating an environment that makes sure that investments grow, private consumption grows, and the backdrop of the economy, which is the SME sector, has favorable terms and conditions to do their business. That's the role of your MCAs and MPs. So when you sit and evaluate what has an MP done and an MCA done, I normally hear Kenyans saying that, oh, this one has not even built a road, this one has not even put a toilet. That is not the job of the member of parliament or the MCA. Yeah? Their job is to create a conducive business environment and direct the executives spending of your taxation in areas that are more productive. Their role is to make sure that there is misallocation of funding. When the executive comes and tries to bring out, like what my colleague has said, walking by sight, just for the sake of having a road or anything of that nature. A job of legislation is to make sure that the executive does not have the free way of doing whatever that they want. I think the best job for our members of parliament and MCAs right now, and as much as people don't like BBI because of whatever reasons, it's not maybe all encompassing on all. For Kenya's economy to start growing, we need to fix the political problem we have in this country.
Yes.
There is going to be no economic growth without fixing the political problem. And what is our political problem? Our political problem is not tribalism. It is not dynasties versus hustlers. Our political problem is short-termism. Yeah? What do I mean by short-termism? Uhuru knows he has 4 years. To be re-elected, he has to walk by sight. Yeah, he has to spend $1 trillion on SGR so that he can point at it and say, look, I built SGR. I am development oriented. Vote for me again. Yeah, he knows after those 4 years, is only another 4 years left. An MP knows that he only has 4 years in parliament, so he has to try and enrich themselves. But we have a problem of short-termism in our politics. If we remove the problem of short-termism, then we start having policy consistency. Uhuru is leaving power in less than 1.5 years. Big Four will go with him. We have spent a lot of money on Big Four. We've not made any progress. Those are 4 years lost. Because the new president who's going to come in will come and say, to hell with affordable housing. To hell with this universal health care or these laptops to the children. Me, I am now moving in this direction. Yeah. So what happens to the money, the taxpayers' money, and the debt that has been put in? So if we are not going to be able to have policy consistency because we have a short-termism political crisis in the country, then the MPs and the MCAs ideally should come with the ability to say, how do we cure the element of policy inconsistency? From Moi to Kibaki to Uhuru, the policies have been inconsistent. There are 4-year cycles, and there's nothing you can do in terms of development in 4-year cycles. So we need to actually cure our political problem of short-termism for us to start seeing MCAs saying that we want a car. But the guy knows, after 1.5 years, he may not be there. So if I don't get this car now, if I don't get this house now, if I don't build myself a good war chest to be able to campaign for re-election, then we are not seeing any long-term policies. Nairobi Expressway is Uhuru just saying, look at my last term, look at what I did. There's something to point at. Is there an economic value, return on investment on that? No. What is the long-term plan for it? No long-term plan for it. We have a political crisis and problem that we need to sort out called short-termism that breeds a policy inconsistency between government every 4 years, and Kenya will never develop.
Philip, clear for us this conversation. Look at the time when the SRC granted this. We do know that the BBI is in the county levels now. The MCAs are the ones who've been entrusted with that responsibility of making sure that all the counties have passed the BBI. Fine. Is it in time? Because the same Salaries and Remuneration Commission were the ones who refused to grant them this a couple of years before. They have been asking for it. They came in and said, no, we can't give you this. SRC now is coming and telling us, well, we can give it to them, but we don't think that this is going to blow our wage bill expenditure out of proportion. Now, it's a change of feeling and mood around this car grant issue. But then again, Philip, I would ask you again, we do know how much members of parliament earn. We do know how much MCAs earn. If we are indeed talking about the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the economy and the general livelihoods of the people across the country, couldn't have they said, hold on, we're still suffering from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, just like doctors have been told, just like nurses have been told, just like teachers have been told, just like every other person has been told. Are they a special crop?
You know, when you have the managers of an economy, if you have the managers of a country's economy having their principle, their operating principle as, you know, if we die, we die, then that country will surely perish. Because that is what we are seeing.
Yes.
You know, the fact that the SRC is saying we can give these car grants to MCS because anyway we will not have reached the ceiling. That is a lopsided thinking. And the rationalization that because members of parliament also have car grants, then we must also give you know, these car grants to MCS. You look at our elected leaders, MPs and MCAs, and you come to the conclusion that these are the best paid, really. They are overpaid, they are underworked, and they underperform. That is the reality. For me, I do not see a reason why an MCA should claim that you know, they need a vehicle so that, you know, their functions in public office are made smooth.
Yes.
Borrowing from what Reginald has mentioned, these guys do not really understand what their functions are. And because over time we have created a dependency syndrome in our society, and that is because we lack a socio-economic welfare system. You have an MCA or a member of parliament handling the basic needs of their constituents. You know, somebody coming in saying they do not have food, they need their medical bills paid, and then reasonably, I mean, in those circumstances, an elected leader will then chip in into their pockets and you know, handle that kind of need. And they, you know, they thrive on that kind of situation, that dependency syndrome, so that the person that has been helped is indebted to the politician. And then you have a case of senseless voting and sycophancy in many cases. Yet they are supposed to use their constitutional mandate to make sure that those issues are addressed in a manner that does not need them to personally step in.
Yes.
What Reginald was talking about, creating a conducive environment for business so that people have you know, enough income
Yes.
within them, creating systems that can manage these socioeconomic issues. So these people are not doing that. But what they are doing is making sure that you know, we are cushioning them as much as possible, and it's really because we pay their taxes, we pay our taxes, and so that means we are paying their salaries, we are paying those allowances, those huge and hefty allowances. In my view, I do not find a justification for paying a member of parliament sitting allowances. I mean, you have been paid to sit. You are actually being, you know, I can give an example. If you, in addition to your remuneration here, you were paid an additional sum, an allowance, you know, for airing news, or, you know, that would be absurd. Because, I mean, we have employed these people to do a certain job.
Yes.
Yet they have an allowance to do that specific thing that we have employed them to do. So it's a case of misprioritization. It's a case of myopia, because we do not seem to think and reason beyond our current circumstances. We have a huge wage bill, but because this, and you've rightly mentioned that these people are special crop. They're not special in the sense that they have anything important about them. They are special because they seem to think that, you know, they're top of the crop. In the place where we're supposed to be having servants, leaders who are servants, we have leaders who are lords of us, and they will do everything to make sure that they're stamping that position. Let me just give a last example. In every ministry in this town, Nairobi, you have a VIP lift for people in a certain job group. Those people are not supposed to mix with the common public. So they will step out of their VIP vehicles into the VIP lift, get into their VIP offices. After that, they will get back to, you know, their VIP vehicles. And then we have VIP traffic management. We are pushed out of the roads because, you know, a VIP is passing. You must let them, you know, pass. And these people live out of the common realities that we face. We are talking about a poor infrastructure, poor everything. These people have no idea because they are not in touch with what happens on the ground. And when they are allocating themselves huge allowances, hefty parks, and you know, running our economy down, it's because it is only their interests that they are catering for, not the interests of 1H.
Yes. What a better way to end the conversation this morning here on a Business AM. Thank the two gentlemen, Reginald and Philip, from the time that they joined us this morning to talk about the bigger economic events that you're waking up to this morning, some that you're clearing the week with. And that's exactly how we clear our week this week.